All right, we are back on Bayou Time and very pleased to have with us Senator Bret Allain, District 21. And I chuckle because, God, it took us all a little while to say Allain correctly, right?
It did take you a while, but you finally got it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, everybody just, I heard it pronounced so many different ways until I just learned how to say Allain.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the French pronunciation. So
there you go. Well, look, you've had a pretty storied career as our senator. I remember when you were first starting out, a lot of people didn't know what they were going to get. That's fair. I mean, because you just get elected. People say, well, can he back up what he campaigned for? You backed it up pretty well. You rose in the ranks. You had many projects, capital outlay projects. As you look back over that time period, you'd probably be pretty pleased with what happened.
I am pleased. I think I've worked hard, not only to rise in the ranks as you said, but also there were certain projects that I took on. Mainly getting capital for things that would create jobs and infrastructure and things that would protect people, like coastal protection. I mean, we fought for all of those things, and I think we're pretty successful. If you look at the 12 years, I actually had them added up. We were just shy of $1 billion for this area, interjected here for projects and roads and bridges and all of that. So, yeah, I'm pretty proud of that.
I tried to toss your name out a good bit. Most of the time when a legislature brings a lot of money to an area, there's all kind of press conferences and everything else. Over the years, I've covered many. That wasn't your game.
No, I didn't need to get credit. I whenever you asked me, I would come on the show, but not really. I let my accomplishments speak for myself.
And there's quite a bit. Let's start with, not that we're going to put Terrebonne before everything, but it's first on the list. So the Houma Navigational Canal Deepening Project, $40.7 million. The Precision AG Training Facility at Fletcher, $20.3 million. Terrebonne General Emergency Power Upgrade, $17.3 million. Hollywood and Valhalla Roundabout Planning, that was $1.9 million. The Bayou Canal Pump Station Replacement, $2.125 million. Terrebonne Sports Complex, $3.939 million. West Side Alma Street Drainage, $783,000. Valhalla Extension, Savan to 311, $32 million. That's just Terrebonne. I'm going to mention all the others, but that's a lot of projects.
That's a lot of projects. Yeah. And look, you notice that list. It's things that either creates jobs or improves infrastructure so that you can bring jobs here or make it more pleasant for the people that are here. And look, we put hundreds of millions of dollars into Morganza to the Gulf, to protecting people, also for the port and the Houma Nav and the locks that went there. I mean, it was, and not all these projects were actually in my district, but they were important to the people that lived in my district.
Well, because they filter in to
Absolutely.
the district. Let's do Iberia. New Village Mall in Laurelville, $1.2 million. Generette Sewer and Water System Improvements, $5.9 million. New Acadiana Crime Lab, $24 million. Iberia Medical Center, additional medical, surgical, and inpatient psychiatric rooms, $8.7 million. Acadian Com Access Channel, Port of Iberia, $40 million. Evacuation Center at Acadiana, the fairgrounds, $8 million. Animal Control Shelter upgrades and additions, $1 million. Progress Point Business Park and Airport Gateway, $1.34 million. So, as we're going to read in several parishes.
You don't have time to read them all.
Well, I'm going to get them all in 3 segments. I Hey, look, what I'm going to read is not everything. No. You can't fit everything in 12
the Bayou
years.
Shane's not in there. A lot of the other projects, and I think when you get to Terrebonne and Nichols, You know, what we've
Yeah.
done at Fletcher, the money we invest in there to be able to train people for these high-skilled jobs, I think is going to be very important. You did mention Fletcher. Fletcher started out as an ag technology because we weren't doing that anywhere in the state. We've actually expanded that in cooperation with Kennywood and his manufacturing. We're going to do advanced manufacturing there. We're going to do more diesel mechanics there. We're going to train automobile mechanics there, which the Barkers and all the people around here, all the automobile dealers desperately need.
Yeah.
So we expanded that mission, and you'll get to Nichols soon.
Yeah.
But what we're doing there with the Coastal Center, I mean, we're going to spend $50 billion restoring the coast over the next 50 years. We've got to train the people.
Yeah,
and
gotta
look,
have some
that's a
people around.
cottage industry that can help supplement the oil and gas. They're similar in a lot of ways. And then, of course, the $27 million for the new nursing school. I mean, since COVID, the shortage of nurses has been terrible. And to be able to train them here to where they'll stay here and take care of us.
Well, going to the break, it helps people that want to buy cars, helps people go to restaurants, helps people living, buying houses. Let's do this. Take a short break. When I come back, we're going to talk about Lafourche, St. Mary, Assumption, and Louis St. Martin, and Nichols and Fletcher. It's all next. Don't go away, Senator Bret Allain. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. All right, we are back with Senator Bret Allain, District 21. And I just want to let you know, and you know I've said this many times, if you go to Baton Rouge and you lay an egg, we say it. But Senator Allain has been a good advocate. He brought a lot of money to this area, and that's why on his way out I want to make sure we give him kudos because there's a lot of projects. Speaking of, before I get into the projects, I want to give you a little opportunity to talk about tax reform because that was a big issue.
I was always interested in tax reform, and the first 8 years, it was talked about, but not a whole lot got done. When I got the assignment to be chairman of Revenue and Fiscal Affairs, which not only takes care of the capital outlay, but also oversees all the taxing in the state. I mean, 2 years ago, we passed that constitutional amendment. The highest tax rate before that for personal income tax was 6%. We got it down to 4.25%, and we got it in the Constitution where it can never be raised above 4.5% ever again, unless you change the Constitution. And look, we're looking for ways to do reduce inventory tax, and I actually had a bill this last time that got vetoed to do away with franchise tax. Franchise tax has got to be one of the worst taxes we have in this state. It taxes the capital that people, large companies, invest here. You want to disincentivize somebody? Tax their capital. It won't come. So we've got to do away with that.
Yeah, they'll just skip Louisiana.
And go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the governor didn't see the merit in it and vetoed it, but I think you'll see that bill again in the near future.
Let's talk about Lafourche.
Yep.
You had the new nursing building at Nichols, $27.5 million. You had La Rose to Golden Meadow Hurricane Protection, $10.2 million. Additional $21 million from CPRA's allocation. Fouchon to Belle Pass, channel deepening, $25 million. The Butch Hill Pump Station replacement, $7.6 million. Kramer Waterline improvements, $2 million. Canal Boulevard Bridge replacement, $6.4 million. Thibodeau Regional Emergency Power Upgrade, $19.3 million. Louisiana 1 Improvements, Phase 2, $92 million from a DOTD allocation. So Lafourche a little bit happy too, aren't they?
I think all the parishes I represent were pretty happy with what we were able to bring home.
And it's some pretty even-keeled numbers when you really look at it.
Well, listen, the way I look at it, this was our time to get this. I've seen the first 8 years when I was in the legislature, so much go to Baton Rouge, so much go to New Orleans, so much go to Shreveport. It was really the Bayou time. It was really Bayou's turn to get these type of investments.
And per capita, I think was the only area I think that might have beat us. There's only one parish. I can't remember which one it was. But parish by parish, per capita, this area did really well.
You did, between us and Lafayette, you did the best you'd ever done.
Yeah, that might have been Lafayette.
And listen, there are a couple of regional projects too. We put another $50 million in money that hopefully we match with the federal government. We're going to resurface Highway 90 from Lafayette all the way to here.
Well, thank God, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, well needed.
It was well needed. We can't make it in the I-49 until we resurface it. And there's several more overpasses that got to be done, but people are tired of riding on the bumpy road. It should be it's a 5-year plan or 6-year plan, but in 6 years you should be able to have a smooth ride from here to Lafayette.
Well, that'll be a good thing. Let's talk about St. Mary. Roundabout at Northwest Boulevard in Yoakley, Chatsworth, $3.5 million. Port of Morgan City dock expansion and warehouse improvements, $11 million. Port of West St. Mary warehouse and infrastructure improvements, $2 million. Highway 182 to Lakeview Drive overlay of Lake Pelore Road in Amelia, $1.15 million. New Central Fire Station in Four Corners, $1 million. Potable water system upgrades in Baldwin, $1.56 million. Patterson water, Berwick water, improvements and replacement, rehabs to 9 sewer areas and lift stations, $7.395 million. K Street repairs, $2.31 million, and water treatment facility upgrades, $2.4 million in Franklin. St. Mary clapping for you too.
Well, listen, every region had different needs. You know, the needs here in Terrebonne were different. A lot of those water and sewer systems in St. Mary were horrible. And, you know, we've got our fair share here too. But look, improve the quality of their life of people, give them a job, your area will prosper. And hopefully with these investments, we'll be able to prosper well into the future.
Let's do this. I want to get Assumption and Lower St. Martin in before the break because I have a lot to talk about in the third break. Shell Beach boat launch, $500,000. Pierre Port Bell River Museum, $3.35 million. Emergency Use Pavilion at Veterans Park, $270,000. St. Martin Recreation District Number 1 Park improvements, $250,000. So what we'll do, when we come back, I want to talk about Fletcher. I want to talk about Nichols. Most important question, I want to find out what a high-powered senator who's brought all this money in is going to do when he's out of office. So I know everybody in his family wants to hear this. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems, modern technology and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights. All right, welcome back, Senator Bret Allain, District 21. And once again, yeah, I'm singing his praises because we call it like it is on Bayou Time. Just a lot of money's been brought in his tenure as senator. And I want to give him a little time now to talk about Nichols and Fletcher because you also put those on top of the list. Give us your feelings on Nichols and Fletcher.
Well, listen. There are a lot of people that get trained at Nichols and Fletcher. I'm a huge fan, a huge supporter of both of those institutions. You know, it's all about taking these young people and getting them skills and jobs that they need, and at the same time producing skilled people that can help take care of us, that can help improve the quality of life for everybody here. So it's a win-win situation both ways. Investing in these institutions is a great way, in my mind, to spend the state's money.
Mm-hmm. With everything that I've just read off and everything we've talked about, I'm going to really put you on the spot. I'm going to ask you to pick your number one thing that you accomplished that you'd put on top of the mantle. What would it be?
You know, you are putting me on the spot. I would say, and it's not capital outlay, I would say moving the needle on tax reform as we did. It mainly went unnoticed. You know, as you say, I don't come on. I'm not a guy who comes on and brags, but I think we've really set the groundwork. The reason we're not attracting a lot of these companies to the state of Louisiana is because they look at our antiquated tax system and they scratch us off the list. There's serious tax reform that needs to be done. Investments in this state could be at a level that they are in Tennessee, that they are in Texas, that they are in a lot of other states. We have the resources, we have the skilled people. You know, we could really, really flourish, and our economy could boom if we could, I think, just get the tax structure straight. So the work I've done on the tax structure, you know, all the trips to D.C. and talking to the Tax Foundation and a Council on State Taxation, and all the time and effort that we put toward, I think, is going to pay dividends, not only what we've already done, but what we've set the groundwork to do.
I've always said this, too, and I've told this to you on a couple of shows before. You're not that rah-rah kind of senator that gets in the thing and you're leading off with a joke and you're making everybody laugh. Whenever I see you, you're pretty much all business. I know you got a fun side, but you're pretty much all business. Was it like that a lot?
Well, I mean, it's, you know, I took this job to get things accomplished. I will tell you, you mentioned early campaign. I will mention, I think, a funny story from early in the campaign. There was a Lafourche Republican women's gathering at Miss Charlotte Bollinger's house, and all these ladies were there, and my wife and I went. We were asked to present ourselves and why people should elect us, and they were reading our introduction. It was an old one. It was like 2 years old at the time. My assistant messed up and set the wrong one, and at the end of it, and I'm sitting there with my wife, and at the end of it, they read, and Bret and Kim have been happily married for 25 years. And really it was 27 years. Yeah. And she starts elbowing me, and she's this mad face at me. I said, baby, what's wrong? She said, those ladies just asked me how old our oldest child was, and I told them 26. She said, you better get up there and straighten that out right now.
Yeah, that would have been a big mistake.
We laugh about that often.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I mean, obviously, it's sort of in your blood when you spend that much time in Baton Rouge, but it's like not like you needed it financially when you went up there. You've got a good thing going. What is Bret Allain gonna do when it's all said and done?
Anything I want to. Listen, since I've gotten office, I got 5 beautiful grandchildren. Yeah. My wife would like to travel. Our health is still good. Yeah. Look, I'm going to stay involved politically. Things that over the years that I've been passionate about, some more tax reform, making sure that a lot of these projects that have trailing funding get funded. But it's time for me and Kim. Look, I still got a farm to run for a few more years, but I'm probably going to back away from that too. I'll be 65 this year. So this was something I really wanted to accomplish. I can remember my dad telling me when I was growing up, he said, to those that much is given, much is expected. and I think I've fulfilled that. This was my contribution back to making this a better state.
Well, like I said, I don't allow many people to come on here and brag, and we didn't allow you to come on and brag. We asked you to come on so we could brag, and there's a difference.
There's a difference.
You have a big track record to go with it, and I can honestly say I used to read accomplishments from people and senators and reps, and it was normally one-sided. It normally came from the place that they grew up and lived.
Right.
Not on this resume. No. It's across the board. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah. When I came here to present myself, I said I was going to represent the entire district, and I think from what you've read that I've spread it out. Look, the most important thing when you're in my position is spend enough time to find out what's important in the different areas. Yeah. You can't deliver things like this if you don't really know what the needs are. And I think I've spent enough time and defined the needs of the area, and we've produced them.
Senator, congratulations. We appreciate your work, and thank you for joining us on Bayou Time.
Thank you.
One of your few appearances, but we admire that also. All right, there you have it. Senator Bret Allain doing a good job for our area, and he will go off in the sunset, travel with his wife, and he's looking forward to it. We'll be back. Don't go away.